Good evening and welcome to the World Now at 4. I am Ainan Lubem. First, let's talk the headlines. On the headlines, Buhari expresses concern over Uba's attack. Away from the shores of Nigeria, Gabon's president dissolves Public Works Ministry. On the world stage, Americans to pay for COVID-19 vaccines treatments. While on sports, Arsenal-Manchester City EPL fixture postponed. And now the news in detail. President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday described the shooting in Anambra State at the convoy of the senator representing Anambra South Districts, Ifeanyi Uba, as barbaric and condemnable. According to a statement signed by the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, Buhari said he was closely monitoring the situation and waiting for further details on the response to the situation by the police, the military, and other security agencies. The president expressed deep concern about the activities of armed groups in the regions and other parts of the country. The president therefore prayed for the quick recovery of the senator and all those that were injured during the attack. Cross River State Governor Ben Ayade on Wednesday locked out civil servants attached to his office in Calabar for arriving late to the office. Speaking on the issue, the head of service, Dominic Akwaji, said the workers were locked out because of lateness. He added that administrative measures will be taken against the affected workers. The action of the governor followed his return from a long trip out of the state, and on resumption of work on Wednesday, workers who were not on duty at the time were barred from entering their offices. The National Association of Nigerian Students has said it is taking its Wednesday protest to the stakeholders meeting of the Southwest People's Democratic Party, that is the PDP. NANS, in a statement issued Wednesday by its National Public Relations Officer, Giwa Yetunde, said the PDP's presidential candidate, Abubakar Atiku, had not taken any position to identify with the students since the commencement of the strike action by the Academic Staff Union of Universities. According to NANS, enough of playing politics with the future of Nigerian students, adding that a vote of no confidence has been passed on the Ministers of Education and Labour, Adamu and Chris Ngige, respectively. NANS has earlier rescheduled the convergence point for its Wednesday protest to be at the Iwo Road roundabout in Ibadan. When we return, news from other parts of Africa. Stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now to news from other parts of Africa. Gabonese President Ali Bongo Ondimba has dissolved the Ministry of Works, Equipment and Infrastructure, citing incompetence. Prime Minister Rose Christiane Raponda disclosed this while reading a presidential decree. According to Raponda, the decision follows many complaints from citizens over deterioration of urban roads. Ali Bongo Ondimba expressed his anger at the slowness constantly observed and denounced by him in the rehabilitation of the national road network. The president also ordered the creation of a department under the Prime Minister's office that would take over the operations and the staff of the dissolved ministry. An upper middle income country with a population of 2 million people as at 2017, Gabon is rich in mineral resources and is the 5th largest oil producer in Africa. According to the World Bank, its economy is driven by oil and manganese. And now to Ethiopia, where the war-torn Tigray on Wednesday experienced another airstrike, making its second bombing in as many days, which came shortly after authorities in the rebel-held region said they were ready for a ceasefire. According to a tweet by Getachew Reda, spokesman for the Tigray People's Liberation Front, that's the TPLF, which has been fighting Ethiopia's government for nearly 2 years, the attack struck a residential neighborhood in the regional capital, Mekelle, killing and wounding innocent civilians. Radar did not provide details of the casualties, but the bombing injured at least 2 women, said Fasika Amdalasli, a surgeon at Andifi Referral Hospital, the biggest in Tigray. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's government has not commented on this week's reported bombings. The reported attack followed a drone strike on Tuesday on Mekelle University, which the TPLF said caused injuries and property damage. We now move to other parts of the world. After this break, stay with us. On the world stage, a Washington report on Wednesday had revealed that Americans will begin payment for COVID-19 vaccinations and treatments as soon as January 2023, as U.S. Congress has nearly run out of funds. According to the report, earlier this month, the Department of Health and Human Services announced that commercial sales of COVID-19 vaccines previously distributed by the U.S. government and offered at no cost. This would begin in early 2023, leaving Americans to obtain vaccines through insurance or pay by themselves. The report added that even those with health insurance would have to fund some of the cost out of their pockets, which was a problem as the cost of living is soaring in the United States. It added that it was very likely that fewer eligible people would be driven to take their 4th shot. Away from that, now to the Pope Francis, who has said that God does not guide religions towards war. He disclosed this on Wednesday in an implicit criticism of Russian Orthodox Patriarch Kirill while addressing the Russian Orthodox hierarchy and other faith leaders at an interfaith conference in former Soviet Republic of Kazakhstan. The remarks were in line with Francis' plea made a day prior, asking the delegates present from various countries to put an end to Russia's senseless and tragic war in Ukraine. He further praised Kazakhstan's commitment to diversity and dialogue and its progress from decades of Stalinist repression. According to the report, earlier this year, the Pope also publicly criticized Kirill, asking him not to be Russian President Vladimir Putin's altar boy as he backed the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The 7th Congress of Leaders of World and Traditional Rulers is a meeting that brings together Christians, Jews, Muslims, Buddhists, Hindus, and other faiths. Up next on World Now at 4 is business news. Stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The World Now at 4 on Hughes TV. And now to business news. The federal government of Nigeria says it recovered a total of 2.6 trillion naira in revenue from oil firms following the Nigeria Extraction Industries Transparency Initiative, that is NAITI. RG Ogbonnaya, RG Executive Secretary of NAITI, made this known on Tuesday in Abuja at its civil society organizations, that is CSOs, and Media Engagement on Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative IT validation. RG said NAITI's financial report led to the recovery of the debt. NAITI said a total of $2.6 billion remained outstanding in the hands of companies as at March 2022. According to the report, the IET validation, which is conducted every 3 years, is a quality assurance mechanism to ascertain the level of compliance and progress in implementing its standards among member countries, including Nigeria. Recently, NAITI released 2019 reports which included a list of 7 oil and gas companies that owe the government up to $6.8 billion. European Commission on Wednesday revealed a series of proposals to curb the energy spike that has rocked Europe in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. While stressing that EU solidarity with Kyiv would be unshakable, President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, whose proposal to help European households and companies include imposing cuts in electricity usage across the bloc, said the bloc was working to protect households and businesses.
Russian gas accounted for 40% of our imported gas. Today it's down to 9%. But we also see that Russia keeps actively manipulating our energy market. I mean, they prefer to flare the gas instead of sending it to Europe according to the contracts that are existing. So this market is not functioning anymore. So reducing demand during peak hours will make supply last longer, and it will bring prices down. This is why we're putting forward measures for member states to reduce their overall electricity consumption.
But with Ukrainian First Lady Olena Zelenska, the guest of honor, as she delivered her annual State of the Union speech in the EU's parliament, von der Leyen said sanctions were having a real impact on Russia and were there to stay. Energy prices and inflation have surged across the 27-nation European Union as Moscow slashed gas supplies in response to sanctions, prompting some, in particular on the far right, to argue that the sanctions were hitting the EU more and should be softened. Still to come on World Now at 4 is sports news. Don't go away.
Very good evening to you and welcome to Sport News and World Now at 4. I am Richard Badung. Footballers from the Nigerian Professional Football League, that is NPFL, may be left out of the Super Eagles International Friendly against Algeria in Oran on September 27. The game, built for the Milad Adafi Olympic Stadium in Oran, will be their 22nd meeting since January 10, 1973, with the Eagles recording 9 wins, 3 draws and 9 defeats against the Eagles. Eagles coach Jose Pesaro, who will announce a squad list for the game in the coming days, may not consider the NPFL players due to their inactivity in recent months. Speaking with reporters, Eagles assistant coach Finidi George said it would be difficult to include the NPFL players in the squad for the game in Iran, as most of the Eagles B players were currently on holidays. Finidi correspondent was told that home-based players may not feature in the team for the friendly against Algeria because they just played in Chan and will have to go for holidays. The Eagles will be without injured quartet of Omar Sadiq, Akinkunmi Amohu, Semi Ajayi and Victor Osimhen for the encounter. Away from that story, Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp is unimpressed by new Chelsea owner Todd Bowley's idea of a US-style all-star game in the Premier League. Boley, part owner of baseball team, the LA Dodgers, and basketball sides, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Los Angeles Sparks, suggested a North 5 South game. He said he hopes the Premier League takes a little bit of a lesson from American sports. The German was asked about Boley's idea after Tuesday's 2-1 win over Ajax in the Champions League, and this was what he had to say.
When he finds a date for that, he can call me. When he wants to call us, and he forgets that in the big sports in America, these players have 4-month breaks, so they're quite happy that they can do a little bit of sport in these breaks. It's completely different in football.
Boley will lead a consortium to a £4.25 billion takeover of Chelsea in May. Also put forward the suggestion that relegation places for the top flights could be decided by 4-team tournament rather than the usual format of the 3 bottom sides going down automatically. The American pointed out that there is no relegation in the major sports in the US, with the worst performing teams getting first picks of new talents in a draft, which leads to accusations of teams tanking from an improved pick. And still talking about the English Premier League, the Arsenal's league game against Manchester City, originally set for 19 October, has been postponed to allow the rearrangement of the Gunners' Europa League tie against PSV Eindhoven. Arsenal's game against PSV was set to be played on Thursday, but severe limitations on police resources after Queen Elizabeth II's death prompted the postponement. Arsenal will now play the Dutch side on 20 October. The Premier League said it would find a new date in due course. A whole round of Premier League fixtures was postponed last weekend as football paused as a mark of respect in the wake of Queen's death. 3 more top flight fixtures due to be played this weekend have been postponed in the run-up to the Queen's funeral on Monday. The Premier League calendar is under pressure this season with the World Cup being staged between 20 November and 18 December. Speaking before the postponement of the match against Arsenal was confirmed, City manager Guardiola said he has confidence that a potential future logjam could be solved.
We just play 5-6 fixtures, and I have the feeling that there are managers no change in other circumstances. It depends if Alan is or no involved, and there are other managers that they adapt. So it depends on the quality of the managers. If I play, for example, against Marcelo Bielsa, it's not going to change. Play against Jurgen Klopp is not going to change. And some other managers is going to change. So I would say, except not all, of course not, but mainly we faced the last year's teams set back and deep. You know, United was only kill us in the counter-attack, so set deep. So it depends of the manager what they feel, but I think it's not going to change much differently than the past. It depends of what the manager thinks.
And that's your sport news on World Now at 4. Back to Ainan Lubem for the rest of the news. I am Richard Badum.
Thank you, Richard Bagdun, for the sports update. And now to the rest of the news. New clashes have erupted between Azerbaijan and Armenia on Wednesday as international peace efforts intensified a day after nearly 100 soldiers were killed in the worst fighting between the ex-Soviet republic since 2020. According to reports, Armenia Defense Ministry accused Azerbaijan, which is backed politically and militarily by Turkey, of firing artillery and small arms in fresh attacks. Azerbaijan has also accused Armenia, which is in a military alliance with Moscow and home to a Russian military base, of firing mortars and artillery at its army units. It said 2 civilians had been injured since the clashes erupted. At least 49 Armenian and 50 Azerbaijani soldiers were killed on Tuesday along their common border, prompting an appeal for calm from Russian President Vladimir Putin. Both sides blame each other for the fighting, and the clashes have raised fears of another major armed conflict in the former Soviet Union, while Russia's military is focused on the invasion of Ukraine. And that's World Now at 4, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. On the headlines, we told you Buhari expresses concern over Uba's attack. On the world stage, we brought to the fore Gabon president dissolves public works ministry. Americans to pay for COVID-19 vaccination treatments. On sports, Arsenal, Manchester City EPL fixture postponed. Remember to visit us on Facebook at Hills TV, follow our Instagram channel at Hills TV, like our YouTube channel at Hills TV. I am Ainan Lubem. Thank you for watching.